Welcome, everyone. I'd like to call the special Southern Shores Planning Board meeting December 1, 2022 to order, please. If you would stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Everybody had a chance to look over the agenda. Can I get a motion to approve today's agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda of December 1st, 2022 for the special planning board meeting.
I'll second. Anybody sign up, Wes, on public comment? Okay. Item 5 is new business, and we will now be performing the duties of the Town Board of Adjustment moving forward. I'm going to ask Wes to briefly read in the analysis from staff before we get started, and then we have an order of hearing that you all have in front of you for a variance application. So we're going to pretty much follow that. And I'll get Wes, if you don't mind, to read in your analysis.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good afternoon, members of the board. Thank you all for coming to this special meeting today. The application on the agenda today is VA-22-01. It is a variance application. The applicant is Timmons Group, represented by Kimberly Hamby. The property owner is Fire Service Real Estate. And the requested action is a variance from Town Code Section 36-171-1. The property is located at 28 East Dogwood Trail. It is zoned R1 low density residential. Its existing land use as established on the town's existing land use map is residential. With respect to the surrounding land use and zoning to the north, south, east, and west is all residential RS1 single-family residential district. The physical characteristics of the property are that it's developed and it is an existing EMS and fire station. And the applicable regulations to this application are Chapter 36 from Chapter 36 zoning ordinance, Article 6 general provisions, Article 7 schedule of district regulations, and Article 12 Board of Adjustment. For the analysis, the applicant is requesting a variance to seek relief from Town Code Section 36-171-1 as it applies to the construction of a new EMS and fire station at 28 East Dogwood Trail. Fire stations are allowed in the R1 low-density residential district through the issuance of a special use permit if all applicable town code requirements are satisfied. Town Code Section 36-171 requires site plans to demonstrate that following construction of the proposed improvements, the property will retain all stormwater generated by a 1 1/2 inch rain event and will not adversely affect any stormwater management system previously constructed by the town or on adjacent properties. The applicant has demonstrated compliance with the 1 1/2 inch rain event requirement in 3 out of 4 drainage areas on the lot. Drainage area 3 is on the south side of the lot, and it contains the concrete apron in front of the proposed building and a small portion of the roof. Currently, with the existing building, stormwater in this area runs down to East Dogwood Trail and is collected and stored in a stormwater retention area on the town-owned lot at 29 East Dogwood Trail. The applicant is requesting a variance to allow stormwater generated by the new EMS fire station in drainage area 3 to be collected and stored in the town retention area located at 29 East Dogwood Trail as it is today.
Thank you, Wes. Okay, I'm going to read in the comment that has been used at variances throughout the state. And It starts as this is not a legislative public hearing where the public is invited to give opinion and provide general comments or guidance to the board about zoning text amendments. This is a quasi-judicial hearing. Only aggrieved parties may participate. A member of the public may participate if aggrieved. An aggrieved person may give relevant testimony under oath, no opinions, just testimony based on facts. It is just like taking the stand in a courtroom. An aggrieved person is subject to cross-examination by any other party and by this board, just like court. To be aggrieved under the law, you must be directly and substantially affected by the board's decision. Guidance from past North Carolina cases and the North Carolina School of Government help us understand that to be aggrieved, you must be an immediate neighbor whose property use, enjoyment, and value will be adversely impacted by the board's decision. If you are aggrieved, an aggrieved person, and want to participate in this quasi-judicial hearing by giving sworn factual testimony or wish to cross-examine any witness during this proceeding, come forward to the podium and be sworn in. At this time, I will ask Ms. Hamby, and Wes is going to be sworn in for testimony. I'm going to ask some questions first. I'll get to you quickly. Welcome. Okay, we are starting off with recusal or party challenges to board members. And I'm going to go down and ask a list of questions, and at the end, I will ask if anyone on the board is a yes. So these questions begin with, has any board member communicated with other board members, the applicant or town staff about this application? Does any board member have a fixed opinion that is not susceptible to change? Does any board member have a close familial business or associational relationship with the applicant? Does any board member have a financial interest in the outcome of this matter? Okay, I'm going to go down the line here and start with Jan.
No.
No.
No. Dan?
No.
Dan?
No.
Okay. So that gets that out of the way. Now we will move on to the evidentiary hearing, and I will call on Ms. Kim Hamby. She is the applicant to present her evidence. We are going to, when she's finished with her part, the board will ask questions and the town will cross-examine if they so choose. So welcome, Ms. Hamby, and you've got the podium.
Okay. Thank you very much for accommodating this afternoon. We're requesting this variance due to a difficulty in collecting runoff from the concrete apron between the garage doors at the front of the fire station and the street. That is the only drainage area where we are not meeting requirements, and we have done what we can to limit runoff. We do have sidewalk and parking in that drainage area as well as the concrete apron, but we are proposing those be of pervious concrete and or pavers so that they would not create runoff. I did actually have a meeting where I sat down with Wes and Joe, and we kind of brainstormed and tried to think of a way to redirect this water, but there's a substantial slope coming out of those garage doors that make it difficult to provide any type of depression or gutter to reroute that water to a stormwater treatment unit. All of the other roof areas and pavement areas are going to a combination of infiltration devices and underground chambers. Overall, we don't feel that we're causing any damage or difficulty on other properties as we are reducing impervious coverage with the redevelopment of the site and then providing the substantial storage. So it'll be a relatively minor amount of water that will continue to be routed where a large volume of the water currently goes.
Okay, do you want to go over your application or any facts that we need to know before we start digging in for a question or two?
Honestly, I feel like it's pretty straightforward, and I'd be happy to answer any of your questions.
Okay. Well, board, I'm gonna just call on each one. If you have questions for Ms. Hamby, she'll be glad to take them. And I'll start down here with Jan.
Is there any situation after a heavy rain for any standing water? Or is it all slope that it immediately is redirected?
It will be redirected in that it goes to the edge of the road. Some of it goes across the pavement, and what doesn't go across the pavement actually goes into a small drain at the corner next to the driveway that then routes it across the street to the detention basin. So any water that does run off will go stand in that detention basin.
Tony?
Right now, you're utilizing the retention basin at all?
Under the current conditions, yes, a large portion of the site ends up in that retention basin. We will be drastically reducing that.
Will there be any difference between now and future? Do you think, as far as the water going into the retention basin?
With this proposed development, we'll reduce the amount of water going into that basin. I don't see anything in the future that would cause that to change.
Kim, I've looked over these plans and there's lot coverage in there for the new. How does that compare with lot coverage that's existing now, hard structure?
We're actually reducing the coverage.
Right.
I believe I have notes. I did not bring the full set of plans. On the full set of plans, I actually have a overall reduction number. So I can't tell you the exact number, but it is being reduced.
Uh-huh. So what you're saying is the stormwater that's coming off of there now is basically going pretty much all out on Dutch Road or over towards East Dogwood Trail to the retention area.
Correct.
Now, there are no underground catch basins. It's all going out.
Yes, the only drainage structure to receive any runoff is the one that comes under Dogwood Trail and
Yeah,
into
it goes
the
to the other side
basin.
of the street.
Mhm.
Okay. All right, thank you. Ed?
So the stormwater basin was designed with the flow from that parcel, is that correct?
I wasn't part of that, so I'm not sure exactly what the basis was for that original design. I have been told that it was designed to alleviate flooding at that intersection. I can only assume that some of that flooding was caused in part by the fire station.
Right. So does the state review that stormwater basin capacity? Has it,
To the best of my knowledge, that is not a permitted basin. It was something that was just done as an improvement by the town.
and how is it performed?
Best of my knowledge, it performs well. I have only seen it empty.
Right.
Yeah.
Dan?
Looks kind of straightforward to me, I think. But, can't be perfect.
No, I really do feel like we're making a tremendous improvement in what's happening there right now.
Any other questions for Ms. Hamby based on what you've read in their extensive information that they've given about the drainage area and so forth? The application was very thorough And I think the report that we have from the Timmons Group captures, what we need to know. So thank you for now. We may get you back up, but.
Okay, thank you.
I'm gonna have Wes answer a few questions for us that he knows. So you don't need to go to the podium, do you, Wes?
Yeah, if it's okay, I'll stay here. See the microphone. I didn't have any, I don't have any cross
I'm sorry.
examination.
Procedurally, there should be, if there is any, cross-examination for Ms. Hamby from the town. So
I don't have any questions, but Kim, I did find, I had saved this on the server right here.
Okay,
The existing coverage, this was what you were referring to?
yes,
The existing facility coverage is 70.35%. The proposed new facility is 68.93, and she had that it's a decrease in impervious area of 381 square feet. Is that right?
yes, and I will add, I believe that includes the pervious concrete, which really should not be included in that total impervious area.
In that zoning district, it is, yeah.
Yeah, so it's minor, but it is a reduction.
I didn't have any other.
okay, so
Okay.
we're good there. Okay. Well, at this point, we've gone through board questions. Wes didn't have any cross-examination from Ms. Hamby. Now I will call on Wes to give us any knowledge that he has. I believe there's a email from Joe Anloff, the town engineer, that you may want to speak to.
Yes, I will read that into the record. And I'll also read the rest of the staff report into the record with staff's findings with respect to the criteria needed in order to grant the variance. Section 36-367 of the town zoning ordinance establishes that the planning board, when performing the duties of Board of Adjustment, shall vary any provisions of the zoning ordinance upon a showing of all of the following. Number one, unnecessary hardship would result from the strict application of the ordinance. It shall not be necessary to demonstrate that in the absence of the variance, no reasonable use can be made of the property. Staff's response or thoughts on that criteria is that strict application of Town Code Section 36-171 would require adjustment of the proposed grade to lower the site, which would affect the other drainage areas. Lowering the site would also increase flood risk. The second criteria, the hardship results from conditions that are peculiar to the property, such as location, size, or topography. Hardships resulting from personal circumstances, as well as hardships resulting from conditions that are common to the neighborhood or the general public, may not be the basis for granting a variance. Town staff's response is that the subject property, the lot area, is approximately 27,000 square feet. The other fire station in the town, located at 15 South Dogwood Trail, its lot area is approximately 30,000 square feet. And the lot area of another site where a new EMS station is to be constructed in Kill Devil Hills is approximately 91,000 square feet. Criteria number three, the hardship did not result from actions taken by the applicant or the property owner. The act of purchasing property with knowledge that circumstances exist that may justify the granting of a variance shall not be regarded as a self-created hardship. Town staff's response is that the hardship is a result of the size of the lot. And lastly, number four, the requested variance is consistent with the spirit, purpose, and intent of the ordinance, such that public safety is secured and substantial justice is achieved. Town staff's response is that the intent of the R1 low-density residential district is to encourage development of permanent low-density residential neighborhoods and community facilities necessary for the public health and safety and general welfare of the community. And also that by granting the variance, a new fire EMS station can be constructed, which will benefit the public's health, safety, and general welfare. That concludes the staff report. And then I will also read into the record correspondence from town engineer Joe Anloff. I had asked him to review what was submitted by the applicant, including the calculations And his response was, I believe that the KSAT is extremely conservative, and I also agree that using the bottom of the basin elevation in the adjacent stormwater basin, quote, or in parentheses, being normally dry, is a fairly good method by which to determine the seasonable high water table. The calculations provided appear to indicate that in 3 out of the 4 drainage areas that the requirements of the ordinance have been satisfied. That is all the evidence I have, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you, Wes. Board members, any questions for Wes in regard to this, Jan?
No, thank you.
Tony?
No, I'm good.
I have one, and I'm asked, conservative would mean erring on the side of more rather than less in engineering terms.
I'm not an engineer, but when I hear conservative, that's what I would have to assume.
Okay, so over-engineered might be possible, but conservative sounds like there's plenty of room there. It's not, we're not honing down to little stuff. Conservative, to me, means that they've erred on the side of more stormwater runoff capability than less. Ed?
What's the 3 out of 4? What's with the 4th area?
That's
3 out of 4 make,
There are 3 different drainage areas on the site. Let me go to the drainage area map.
4 drainage areas. right?
Yeah, I'm sorry, there are 4. So on this map, you'll see drainage area 1 on the north, 2 on the east, 3 on the south, 4 on the west. They have satisfied the requirement in drainage areas 1, 2, and 4. Drainage area 3 is the reason why they're requesting the variance.
To go across the street.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Good.
No questions.
Dan? Do you have anything for Wes? Okay, Ms. Hamby, would you care to ask Wes any questions or?
I don't believe so.
Okay. All right, anybody else have anything for Wes? All right, at this point, I'm going to ask one more time, are there any persons that feel like they are the aggrieved party and would like to speak? Okay. All right. Well, at this point, we are going to kind of dial back in. If you'll look at the staff report that Wes finished up reading, I'm not going to take a vote at each one of those, but there are 4 criteria that I'm going to read, and if you have any feeling one way or the other, I would like for you to make it known. But I'm going to read the 1, 2, 3, and 4 one more time. Wes has given us a staff report in bullets, but we'll talk about it as we go along. All right, number 1 is unnecessary hardship would result from the strict application of the ordinance. It shall not be necessary to demonstrate that in the absence of the variance, no reasonable use can be made of the property. Anybody have any issue with that? Okay. Number 2, the hardship results from conditions that are peculiar to the property, such as location, size, or topography. Hardships resulting from personal circumstances, as well as hardships resulting from the conditions that are common to the neighborhood or the general public, may not be the basis for granting a variance. Anybody want to speak to that? Okay, number 3, the hardship did not result from actions taken by the applicant or the property owner. The act of purchasing property with knowledge that circumstances exist that may justify the granting of a variance shall not be regarded as a created hardship. Anybody? Number 4, the requested variance is consistent with the spirit, purpose, and intent of the ordinance, such that public safety is secured and substantial justice is achieved. Anybody? Okay. Does anybody have any other questions that we need to dig into before we vote on those 4 items? I think number 4 sums it up. The intent, and this is from the staff, the intent of the R1 low-density residential district is to encourage the development of permanent low-density residential neighborhoods and community facilities necessary for the health and safety and general welfare of the community. By granting this variance, a new fire EMS station can be constructed, which will benefit the public's health, safety, and general welfare. I looked over the applicant's material. I thought it was very thorough. The site plan also seemed to encapsulate what they're trying to do as far as stormwater runoff goes. It looks like a better situation because they're capturing more stormwater runoff, and the footprint of the property is smaller too. So that's all I have to say before we vote. Anybody else? Ed?
Good to go.
Okay. At this point, I will ask the board members to vote on approving the variance, or approve the variance with conditions, or deny the variance. First one we'll vote on is, are you in favor of approving the variance before us today?
Approve the
Jane?
I approve the variance.
I approve. Ed? And Dan, okay. Does anyone approve the variance with conditions?
I have no conditions.
I have none. Ed? Dan? None. Obviously, we've approved it without conditions, so there's no need in asking about denying the variance. So I think at that point, we can conclude that the planning board, serving as the Board of Adjustments here today, has approved the variance from the applicant. And as far as procedure goes, I'm not sure what else we need to do.
I would suggest just asking the board to vote that on criteria number 1, 2, 3, and 4. You could do it as a group if you wanted to. So
Or I thought we voted in the totality of 1, 2, 3, and 4. You don't want us to vote individually on.
if you're saying that by granting the variance, are you including that it satisfactorily meets all of criteria 1, 2, 3, and 4?
Yes. I'm assuming that's what.
Yeah, make a motion.
Yeah.
Yes.
And to clarify, that would mean that you believe that strict application of the ordinance, that there is a hardship, that the hardship results from conditions that are peculiar to the property,
Right.
and that the hardship did not result from actions taken by the applicant or the property owner,
Yes.
and that the requested variance is consistent with the spirit, purpose, and intent of the ordinance. That's what the vote. Okay. Yes, sir. So I would just call so you did a roll vote, and I guess that's what we'll go with.
Yes. Does anyone have any questions with that?
I don't.
I think we're in agreement that, just what you said, that, 1, 2, 3, and 4, we're voting, that those 3 items would be in the affirmative.
Yes, sir.
Unanimous decision to grant the variance.
Yes, it was a fourth, fifth vote is required, and 5 out of 5 voted in favor of granting the variance.
Correct.
Yes, sir. So the variance is granted.
Do we don't need a formal vote then? Call for, I'd like to make a motion. We don't need a motion to approve. We need that, don't we?
I guess it wouldn't hurt to go ahead and go over that as well.
Yeah.
A motion to grant the variance, seconded, and all vote.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to grant the variance, and after, in reviewing it, it's for section 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'd like to make a motion that we approve the variance, and it does fit the 4 sections.
Thank you, Tony.
And I second.
Jan, second. Thank you, Jan. Any discussion? All in favor of that motion? Say aye. Aye. Opposed, none seen. Okay. Procedurally, Wes, anything else as we're sitting up here as the Board of Adjustment?
No, sir.
So we can turn our hats back around and go down the
Yes, sir.
whole business.
Yes, sir.
All right, so going down the agenda, there is no old business, public comment section. Does anyone wish to speak? None seen. Planning board member comments? Don't have anything.
The only question, are we having our meeting in December? Sometimes we don't have the meeting. It's still scheduled for December 18th, I think.
December 19th. Yes, sir. And when we get to announcements, I'll go into that.
Okay.
Okay, we're there. Announcements, Wes.
Yes, sir. The next meeting will be held December 19th, beginning at 5 o'clock here in the Pitt Center. We actually have another variance application to consider. I think I announced that at a previous meeting. There's also, if time allows, we could continue discussion of the commercial design standards. I'll put together the comments and suggestions and thoughts that y'all had at the last meeting on that. And I've also put together, I've got 2 put together now, more ZTAs to address 160D changes. So if time allows, we may have that as well. But the priority on the agenda would be the variance. And also, ETJ Representative Finelli, he's requested an agenda item to discuss the ETJ area and possibly transferring that to Dare County. He would like to have that on the agenda. And then I think also I told you all that Board Attorney Jay Wheelis will be at this next meeting for this variance. And I can have him while he's there. There were questions at the last meeting about the procedure for how Superior Court handles appeals in the event that APA 2201 is appealed to Superior Court. I can have him be prepared to explain and answer y'all's questions at that meeting as well.
Okay. All right. Do you have the application for the variance
I do.
in hand?
Yes, sir.
Will you send that out?
I will be. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I mean, as soon as you got it ready
Yes, sir.
to roll. Okay. All right. Anybody else have anything else? Well, I'm gonna,
Make a
Make a
motion that we
motion.
adjourn.
I will second that. Adjourn. Thank you.
All in favor?
We didn't even vote.